Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. I'm here today. We are having some issues today with some streams. I don't know if LinkedIn is live or not. They said they're having connectivity issues, and somehow it's saying my stream was deleted on Facebook. I don't know what's going on there, but thank you to those of you that are tuning in on YouTube, on Instagram. I think LinkedIn is up and going. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, I'm excited to talk to you guys today. Another exciting live stream Monday. Some things going on that I want to talk about with AHIMA because I just saw a really interesting comment today and I thought to myself, my gosh, that's going to be something that might affect some other people or people might be curious about. And I'd love to cover some things that are going on there. In any case, it is really warm in my office today. And I might have to take this hoodie off in a second. I thought I was going to be nice and chilly in here and I would have my hoodie on. Oh, good. I see that we are having some people coming in from LinkedIn, so they must have fixed the issue. Hey, Ladriba. Good afternoon to you. Hello to Sani. Hello to Positive Mimi. Thank you guys for tuning in today. We're short of Facebook. I've been trying to do more with Facebook, and every time it just seems to be some kind of funniness happening. In any case, thank you guys all for tuning in. Happy to be here today to answer some live questions about medical coding, certifications, study tips, all that good stuff. Let's get started with today's stream. Yeah, the hoodie came off. That was way too much. Let's see here. Let me get back into my comments. Good morning to everyone. Happy Monday. Now you can all see my Sesame Street t-shirt. Oh my God, it is warm in here. I usually like it warm, but then all of a sudden when I do live streams, it starts getting a little too warm. Naya says, I looked you up on LinkedIn and couldn't find your profile. Maybe you're looking under the wrong name because I just got married and changed my name recently. So if you're looking under Victoria Mull, you might not find it. You would have to check under Victoria Vo. V is in Victor, O is in Orange. And that should bring me up. I think I also have it linked in most of the videos online. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if it redirects or not. I'll have to take a look at that then. In any case, I saw a really interesting comment, or rather post, I guess, and some interesting comments on it today on one of the Facebook groups that I lurk around in, and it was in regards to AAPC, or rather, the person wanted to possibly end their membership with AAPC because they felt the $222 was too much, and they were looking at moving over to AHIMA. And we're curious about if employers are accepting the micro-credential that AHIMA has for risk adjustment coding. So if you're not familiar with the RAC micro-credential, and hold on one second, I just want to move my stuff from Instagram over so I can see it. So AHIMA has these micro-credentials, right? They are on their website over here. So their certifications, they have these micro-credentials. The micro-credentials, they have a handful of them. One of them is risk adjustment. The others are release of information, clinical documentation, integrity, outpatient, patient identification and matching, auditing, inpatient, auditing, outpatient, and health data literacy. I happen to have the one for risk adjustment coding. So the micro-credential program, hold on. Why is that one not working? There we go. So the micro-credential program with AHIMA. This was started about 1.5 years ago. And at the time, there wasn't a ton of information on them because not a lot of people had taken them. They didn't have a lot of information available. And honestly, what you see on this website here is probably what it looked like a year and a half ago, with maybe some minor tweaks. So there is no training for this micro credential. If you look at it here, it just says that you can take the assessment. It's an online assessment. You can download what is on the exam as far as the structure of the questions and what concepts they're going to test on. But there's nothing about where to train for this, how to train for this. They've never in a year and a half put out any kind of training program or anything for this. And in fact, last year, I got this email from AHIMA, and I'm going to read it to you guys. Because originally when they started these micro credentials, they're like, oh, this is great because it's like it's not a full certification. You don't have to get CEUs for it, but you will have to recertify. And at the time they put it out, they're like, we don't know what this recertification process is really going to look like. Like, stay tuned. So I got an email from AHIMA back in May in regards to my micro credential. The risk adjustment one was only supposed to be a 1-year renewal period. And I guess what happened was, and this is just my take on it, I have no inside knowledge of this, if this is what happened. This is just what I hypothesize may have happened. I feel like that year kind of came and went, and they still had no idea what that renewal process should look like. So they just extended it to a 2-year renewal. So last May, I received this email that says all micro credentials are going to feature a 2-year revalidation program period, and that you're going to have to do some kind of recertification, and we'll update you. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to contact us. So since then on the website, there's really not been any information about what that recertification is going to look like. So here we have the micro-credential website, and I think here's the FAQs. And there's somewhere in here that says like it's going to cost like $50 or something a month to take it. So nothing to prepare, no courses, no online, anything that you have access to. And then how much does it cost to earn? I know it's in here somewhere. I think maybe it's under the recertification information. How do I recertify? What is the recertification fee? In any case, anyway, it's on here somewhere that for the micro credentials, it's going to be like $50 a year just for that micro credential, or I think like $100 for 2 micro credentials. Yeah, here it is. Verification portal. Oh, here it is. Yeah, $49, $99 for 2 micro credentials. I have not even been able to log in to my AHIMA account for months. Every time I go in to even check to see what the information is, I sign in, and this is what happens. And it's been doing this for 2 or 3 months. The other day, AHIMA posted something about having a virtual seminar, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, what's going on with the virtual seminar? They didn't have any information about who was speaking, what the presentation topics were. So I was interested. I wanted more information. I'm like, okay, well, I got to get more information. Like maybe if I log in, it will show me that information. And I haven't been able to log into my AHIMA account. So it's a little bit rough right now. So if you are considering potentially getting rid of your AAPC credentials and jumping over to AHIMA, I want AHIMA to succeed. I really, really do. But when I see things like this, it makes me very concerned. I'll just say that. It's concerning. Things that I have with the AAPC that runs super, super smoothly are not running correctly with AHIMA. And when you hear about financial issues with them, it makes you very concerned that they may not have the money to fix some of the problems. So I'm not saying definitely dip on AHIMA, but these are some of the things you have to consider. If you want to go and get a micro credential, employers aren't really accepting those as far as certifications. They're still looking at potentially having 40% of your CEUs be ones that come directly from AHIMA or the partners, I guess, of AHIMA. So there's some costs in there that you should be made aware of, and some issues that they're currently having to be made aware of. Okay, so a question came in from Christina, and it says, I take the CPC on the 29th, and the exam is still based on the 2024 code books, or will I need to purchase the 2025 code book? So here's the skinny on that. Exams have already changed for the year over to 2025. They change on January 1 of every single calendar year. So what happens is, it's not like the AAPC is going to take all of their study materials or their exam questions and completely throw them in the trash. What they're going to do is they're going to go through and comb through all of the questions in the exam bank and see, oh, okay, well, we have this question here and it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but now it needs an extra character and it has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know? So they're going to change whatever information as far as codes or whatever has changed. It's a very small amount. I think we had a few hundred codes change in ICD-10-CM and a couple hundred in CPT. They're not going to go out there and intentionally make tons and tons of questions just based on those new codes. So the chance that something that has a newer updated code will happen to appear on your CPC exam starting in 2025 is like negligible. Having said that, if you're someone who's very close and you get like a 69% and don't pass the exam, you might wind up kicking yourself going, oh, you know what, maybe it's because I didn't have the updated code books and I got one that was difficult. So that's kind of what you have to weigh, but there is a possibility, but it's a small one, that something might be updated, and even a smaller possibility in reality that it could make or break you passing the exam or not. Tony Snell asks, why is it hard to find employment? I want to change to coding, but I'm afraid. That is because there's a lot of variety of training that's been out there historically for medical coding, right? So we have some people who are very dedicated. They go out, they get like associate's degree programs or bachelor's degree programs. We have programs that are from the AAPC. We have programs like Preppy, which offer you externships so that you get that hands-on experience, and they give you all that training and affordability and everything. And I do have a partnership with Preppy, so understand that when I speak about Preppy, there is a sponsorship and affiliate connection made there. And then we have a lot of fly-by-night programs, right? That people are just looking to make a quick buck. They're on Instagram. They're like, here's my WhatsApp, send me a message. I'll train you in medical coding. So there's a lot of people that went through some not so great training, or maybe didn't get certified, or they just became certified because they were really good at taking the exam maybe, but not so good at actually doing practical coding. So there's huge variance in qualifications of medical coders, right? And because of that, employers are like, you know what, it's really hard to tell if this candidate or this candidate out of the 100 applications we've gotten are someone who actually knows how to do practical coding and they won't require a lot of hands-on attention, or if there's someone who just got some program on, Udemy that was from 2015 and is 10 years outdated, and they think they know medical coding, right? So what they've done in a lot of cases is they want to do the easy, lazy thing and say, oh, well, we're just going to require 2 years of experience. So that's why I think sometimes it's difficult for people to find coding jobs, is because there's a lot of employers that, in order to combat that, have made a requirement to have 2 years experience. Having said that, we are starting to see a lot more publicity for jobs that are taking apprenticeship coders. I actually just saw the Judge Group posted something the other day about they wanted, I think it was 100 apprentice coders, like people who did not have years of experience, but were certified coders, for a position. Let me see if I can find that. I reached out to them and I'm very disappointed that they did not get back to me, because those are my boys. I'm like right by the Judge Group, and I always connect with them at conferences. Let's see if I can find it online to share with you guys. Because I reached out to him and I'm like, hey, before I blast this out to like 181,000 people, do you want me to do that? Let's see if they have it on here. Maybe I took a screenshot of it. Did I? I might have. In any case, if I find it, I'll share it with you guys. Hold on, 185. That's from my kid's school. Yeah, I don't think it's in here. Oh, wait, here it is. I found it. Hold on. I'm going to screen share this with you guys. I'll zoom it in. So here's one I did find recently. And you're going to have to pause the video if you want to. That's not the one. If you want to look at this. Present. There we go. So this was just from a couple of days ago. So I don't know if they still are taking applications or not. But for example, like here's one where they are actively looking for people who have CPCAs. And I think this is probably a US-based client only one. So if you're in India or Pakistan, they might not accept your application. But yeah, we do have quite a few more places that are starting to understand that they can't just say, oh, we only want to experience 2 years or more coders forever. And that they need to start hiring some of those coders that are newer. Doc says, is this industry oversaturated? I think you could make an argument that just about every industry is oversaturated. I think you're going to see naysayers no matter what kind of industry or type of work that you get into. People will tell you not to go on YouTube because it's oversaturated, not to get into tech because it's oversaturated and there's lots of layoffs. So to some degree, you do need to go with something that you are interested in and definitely want to do and are able to, continue some level of pride and perseverance in. I do think there is, and as I kind of indicated before, there is somewhat of a saturation of people who got into medical coding with inappropriate training and don't have the quality or backing to their training as some others do. There's unfortunately, I think it's more so an oversaturation of people trying to make a quick buck training people very cheaply and poorly, or people who think this is easy and quick to learn and that they can just train in like a couple of weeks and take an exam. So I do think there might be a little bit of a saturation of this. Hey, Victoria, not sure if you've covered this. Do you know any updates about the AAPC using an encoder instead of coding materials during the CPC exam? So encoder, no. But what I have heard, if you watch AAPC social hours over on Facebook, they do provide some updates about what's going on with the AAPC. I sometimes, if I don't catch them live, I will go back and watch them. And I'm one of those people that likes watching things at like 2 times speed. So I'll kind of like skip around or watch it on 2 times speed just to kind of get those updates on what's going on to report back to you guys. But what they indicated is that as far as exams go, the fill in the blank questions that everyone was kind of panicking about that might come into fruition at some point, they have put that way on the back burner. They're like, we've got other things we're working on right now. Fill in the blank isn't going to be happening anytime soon. What they have indicated, though, is that it is a good possibility. That doesn't mean definite. Good possibility means it's a good chance it could happen. That sometime in 2025, they will allow ebooks to be used for the exam. Now, what that means is I'm fairly certain if that happens, they're just going to embed access to blank ebooks in the exam platform. It's not going to be like, okay, well, you can go online and you can log on to your Kindle account and you can pull up your ebook from there. I think what it'll be is within the exam platform, there will be buttons that you can bring up an ebook version of the ICD-10 CM book, the CPT book, and the HCPEX book if you want, which will be a huge cost savings, especially if you're going through those programs like Preppy, where they have been giving you ebooks to get you ready for those ebook formats. And that if you don't want to purchase paper books, that you may have that capability in there. So there's still a lot of things that are being tested there, a lot that remains to be seen, but it has been indicated that it is likely that at some point in 2025, they will allow you the option of using ebooks or still using physical books for your exam. So it's not like you're going to be mandatorily made to use ebooks. You will still have the option to use physical paper books as far as what they've recently stated. What billing jobs would be acceptable experience with a CPCA? So what you want to do is if you are out looking for a job and you're like a CPCA, here's a couple of things that I want to bring out to kind of give you some tips on job search. LinkedIn. So I'm just going to pull up a couple of things here on my screen, and I just want to make sure I get them up before there we go. Excuse me. So I'm going to share some things about looking for a job, right? So say I'm a brand new CPCA and I'm having trouble finding jobs. One of the things I like to say is if you're looking for something that's within the realms of coding, not necessarily a certified coder, but something in the revenue cycle so that you can get your experience, get your feet wet, get in the door a little bit, get that foot in the door. Because I didn't start out in medical coding. I started out in charge entry and then I went to billing. And I have to tell you guys when I'm done here, maybe remind me when I'm done ranting if I have time to tell you the real story of how I actually got my very first coding job where my title was medical coder. But in any case, when you're searching for a job, search for ICD-10 because that's going to bring up a lot of different stuff, not just coding, but billing, rev cycle, someone where they're looking for someone who has skills in ICD-10. And that's going to touch basically any type of medical coding or billing, right? ICD-10. What you can do then is you can filter, and this isn't 100%, but if you want to try and narrow down your scope a little bit, you can go to your experience level and entry level. So that will start filtering down some of the positions to the ones that are more entry level. Because if you search for something like CPCA in here, it's also going to bring up all the job descriptions that say, we will not hire CPCAs because the term CPCA is in there. So you can do that in Indeed. You can do that with Google Jobs. You can search. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Clear filters. Mine might look a little bit different. Let's see here. Your career applications. But even if I wanted to do, something's not right with my Google Jobs right now. I don't know why. But in any case, you can also do it on LinkedIn. ICD-10. Oh, I have to be in the jobs thing. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's what happens when it gets too hot in my office. We can search here, ICD-10. You can search by region. If you're looking for something remote, you can type in here remote. And then you can also, again, filter down by entry level. They do have one for internships. And we do also have a project extern with the AAPC. I'm really, really hoping maybe I feel like maybe I should do a video specifically trying to target employers to get more people to sign on so that there's more locations for these interns to go to. But yeah, so those are some tips that you can use to kind of navigate to some entry level positions. Hey, Victoria, do you know if you know if AHIMA has fill in the blank questions in their CCA or CCS tests? I believe they do. Last I checked, and I haven't been all the latest and greatest up to date with AHIMA. But if I remember correctly, yes, they do have fill in the blank questions on the AHIMA exams. There are currently none on the AAPC exams, with the exception of the CIC or Certified Inpatient Coder exam does have some fill in the blank questions. Do you have recommended programs for CCS? I really don't. Yeah, my teacher said last year the APC was moving towards using coding software during the exam instead of exam takers using coding models. No. Possibly. I mean, if your instructor was a VILT instructor or someone working directly with the AAPC, maybe, but I doubt that. I know at some point we will have to when we switch over to ICD 11, but the latest is that they will likely allow ebooks some point this year. I have not heard anything about allowing to use encoders or any kind of search tools for today's exam. In fact, when you take the exam and you go onto the AAPC exam platform, functions like Control F, or if you're trying to copy or any of even right click, are disabled. Whitney asks, is it normal to take more than 6 months to complete the self-paced AAPC course? I am struggling with the cardiovascular system and CPT coding currently. I think there are, yeah. I mean, if you're, depending on how much time you have to dedicate to things, yeah, you might take a little bit longer to work through certain sections, and cardiovascular is definitely a tough one. That's one that most people struggle with. The top two that people struggle with are cardiovascular and evaluation and management. Those are the top two. And yeah, cardiovascular, do your best with it, but don't break yourself and completely lament over it. Remember that the CPC exam is 100 multiple choice questions, and only a handful of them are going to be on cardiology. So it's not like you have to be the master of all things of everything of cardiology in order to pass the exam. Only if you maybe get a job working coding cardiology. So if you don't like cardiology, try not to get a job working in coding and cardiology, right? If it's not your strong suit. Otherwise, if you do and you find one, and maybe you'll change, or maybe you'll have a good mentor, or maybe you'll, at that point decide, oh, you know what, I really need to sit down and commit and master some cardiology stuff. But for examination purposes, you need to just have that baseline knowledge. Sunny says, hey, Victoria, I just got my CRC certification, and their next certificate that really intrigues me is the CIC. Do you suggest one to get the CIC certification without getting the CPC first? You do not need to get the CPC first. The CPC and the CIC are very independent of each other because it's two different types of coding. So it's almost like two different programming languages, because in the CIC, you have to know PCS coding. They don't touch on PCS coding at all in the CPC. It's not something that you would need to learn for professional fee coding, for billing on a CMS 1500 form. I personally don't know a lot about PCS coding. I know like a little tiny bit. It's one of my goals at some point to start getting into PCS coding. Excuse me one second. But at this point, I eventually want to do something interesting in regards to PCS coding and my journey to eventually learn PCS coding. But I definitely don't think you need to get the CPC in order to get the CIC. Karen, thanks for joining channel membership. And she says, I have a CCS with AHIMA. I'm looking to move towards AAPC for some of the reasons you mentioned. If I go with AAPC, would it be better to get a CPC or another certification, since the CPC is essentially the same? So the CPC and the CCS are not the same. The CPC is the AHIMA's, it would be the equivalent to the CCSP, so provider based. If you were looking to get an equivalency with the AAPC, it would really be more so the CIC, or Certified Inpatient Coder. So if you're looking, though, to switch, if you're certified in inpatient coding, though, and want to get into professional fee coding, then you could go with the CPC. The comments here are like popping so fast. I don't know that I've ever seen the comments go popping so fast. What is the difference between ICD-9 and ICD-10? I'm seeing some employers want both. So ICD-9 was the code set that we used. Oh my gosh, how many years has it been now? 8, 9, something like that, years ago. If you see employers listing ICD-9 on their requirements for a job, it's because they haven't updated the job description. What's happened is these employers will come out and they'll go, hey, I need a certified coder. And they take their job description and they get it out and they go, and it's the one from 10 years ago. And they post it up online because they think nothing has changed. And they have the outdated code set still listing on there. So no one at this point should be, even historically, because it's been so long, requiring anyone to know ICD-9. So if you're still seeing it on job descriptions, it's because they haven't updated the description in far, far too long. Question says, I am taking the exam on the 15th. Just curious if I would have to use the 2025 guidelines. I have the 2024 AAPC books. You can absolutely use the 2024 books. But it's just that anything that has changed from 2024 to 2025, as far as codes that might have changed or guidelines that may have changed, have been updated now in the exam, which isn't honestly a ton. I would say, I think I did a calculation the other day and it was maybe like 3% or something of codes in ICD-10-CM. Like there was a 3% change based off of the new additions and deletions. We didn't, change the whole code set. We don't do that every year from year, but there's some codes that might have an additional character extension now. There's some codes that, we may have added some more specificity to, or changed a slight description to, but nothing like that. The likelihood of it making or breaking you passing the exam is negligible. Avanti, I am not ignoring my chat. I have got a ton of comments coming through and I'm only going through what I can see at the time. I'm not intentionally ignoring anyone. In fact, the one that you're saying I'm ignoring you is the only one that I'm actually seeing right now. And I do have slow chat mode on in YouTube, so you can't for a while I was having people that were coming into the chat and just spamming it. They were just typing things over and over and over and over. So I had to activate what's called slow chat. And that means that you can only comment once every almost minute, so that no one's coming in and just spamming the chat with all kinds of stuff over and over and over. Okay. Positive Mimi says, how is Preppy coding course set up in comparison to a community college program? That can vary greatly, because there's some community colleges may have really great programs, others maybe not so much. Some might have great programs but poor teachers. Some might have great teachers but poor programs. So the Preppy coding course is structured very similarly, though, to in general what you would see. So it's going to start out with some prerequisites. You're going to learn some med term. You're going to learn some anatomy. And then you're going to start getting into coding, ICD-10-CM, CPT, HCPCS. And then when you're done, they do offer an internship program. And by the way, I should probably, if you're not familiar with Preppy is the program that I work with because they do really amazing work for my viewers. They've helped, gosh, they're so good. They have helped get them the training they need. They've helped get them externships that they need, and they've done it very budget friendly. It's completely online. It's very affordable, very flexible. They have amazing customer service. And they have a great online budget-friendly program. If you want to know more about them or just about a career in medical coding in general, you can go over to medicalcodingmasterclass.com. That is the free career masterclass that I made that tells you about how to get into a career in medical billing and coding, what certifications they want, what the salary expectations are, day in the life, future expectations, so forth and so on. And I want to just be very, very clear that I have a sponsorship with Preppy. So I do receive commissions for sending over viewers, but they are really, truly a great program. They are the only program that I would recommend at this point if you're looking for something budget friendly and affordable. Now, however, having said that, if you're someone who wants a program where you want to meet weekly via Zoom, then you maybe want to go into the AAPC and look at their instructor-led programs. But that's going to cost more. And if you want to go get an associate's degree, that's going to cost you more. But if you're just like, hey, I just want something that's on demand, I can do it wherever I want, that's when you start and you don't want to break the bank, you don't want to go into student loan debt, that's when I tell you to start looking into Preppy. Because if we look at, for example, the AAPC, if you go into the AAPC website and you were to purchase training right now, let's see here, CPC training, get trained. If you were to go for the instructor-led, which means you can meet via Zoom, and you need the prerequisites and you need the books, it would be $4,293.99. And if you want self-paced with the prerequisites and the books, oh gosh, $3,893.99. Now, Preppy has the program for billing and coding, and it is boop, 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 boop. As little as $15.99 if you pay all at once. It's a little bit more if you installment pay. And the cool thing about Preppy is they give you everything as far as books and materials to learn. What they don't include, and I'll be very transparent about this, they don't include your AAPC membership, your exam fee, and the AMA edition of the CPT book in print. So if you need those three things because you want to pursue the CPC certification, which not everyone does. Some people just want to get this training and go do billing. But if you want to get the CPC certification specifically, those are the three things that you would have to buy out of pocket, and it would still come in less than what the AAPC charges. Again, you don't have to, but that is out there. Yeah, Dana says she loved her AAPC instructor and it was well worth the extra. Yeah, so if you're someone who needs that, you're like, I need someone to hold me accountable and I want someone to meet in with me every week and go over some slides and answer some questions. Yeah, that's definitely an option. But understand, the more you are getting out of a program, the more attention you're getting out of a program, it's going to come to higher cost. Brittany, I am so glad that you brought this up. So it says Bucks has a book to teach you coding and a workbook. Also, I did this and passed my exam with flying colors. I still had the membership in the coding books. Yeah. So if you are interested in self-study, I actually just bought the ebooks for this year because I want to bring something up in regards to the self-study. So if you want to self-study medical coding, I have videos on that. It is not free. It is not cheap to self-study because you still have to buy all of the code books, the membership, certifications, all that. Excuse me. And you have to buy the books to learn how to do medical coding because the code books themselves won't teach you coding. So I just got the updated Bucks step-by-step book. And the question I get every year, and why I buy this book every year, despite the fact that it barely changes anything from year to year, they only change if there's code updates, is everyone always asks me about the answers. So if you are going through, and I don't want to go through like the whole book because that would not be okay. But let's say I'm going through here and I want the questions to some of the reviews that are in here. It's taking a sec to load. When we look at some of the questions, so chapter reviews, they have those. It says the answers are in Appendix C. But these chapter reviews, there's no answer for. So a lot of the answers for the exercises are in there and for these learning objective and glossary chapter reviews. But these chapter reviews, they do not have the answers in them. I think it even put on here. Yeah, the answers are only available in the Teach Instructor resources. So these are great books to learn from. They are good, budget friendly, and I used to teach with them. But they will not have the answers to every single question that is in the book. And that's the one drawback back to them. I don't think you will find a book that is better in order to learn medical coding, but there are going to be some drawbacks there. And you can buy that book on Amazon as well. If you want the paper book, I do have it linked in the video description, and you can buy it there. Yeah, and some of them, they do come with a code that basically unlocks a little online course. So you buy the step-by-step medical coding book. For some reason, I think the one that I bought didn't, or maybe they just don't have it ready yet. And then it puts you can sign on for a little online course. It's nothing like video lectures. It's kind of like slides and narratives. Does Preppy offer refresher training? They do not. So yeah, so Preppy really is just like a medical coding 101 for people just getting started. Nita says, I am a medical assistant. To start with, what is the best coding course for beginners? There's a lot of options out there. You may have near you a really good technical school or a really good community college, and you might get grants with them. You might get financial assistance. Check in your areas. Sometimes they have the Ed2Go programs. The Ed2Go programs, they're not great. They'll get you through. And you can sign directly on with the AAPC. So if you want to get specifically into medical coding and you want to get training there, you can go right to the AAPC and get training through the AAPC. Come on. Oh, there it is. And get training right through the AAPC. And the CPC certification is a pretty good gold standard for getting jobs in medical coding. Otherwise, you can also check out if you're interested in something that's like budget friendly, really affordable, good customer service, and offers an externship program, which you don't get with the AAPC. A lot of programs don't offer them. I'm actually not sure that my community college still offers them. I know my tech school is having issues near me. But in any case, you can find out more about Preppy at medicalcodingmasterclass.com. Positive Mimi says, would it be wise to switch my community college program to Preppy? If you're already in the program, I would just stick with your community college, especially if you're getting a good rate there. My community college has been charging a lot anymore. I think the program that I went through years ago, I think I got a pamphlet from them not too long ago, and it was something like $9,000 just to get the non-associate's degree program. It's ridiculous what some of these places are charging. Honestly, since the instructor led with AAPC is like $4,000 and change, I would not recommend paying more than that for a program unless you are getting an associate's degree. Hidden Boy says, how much average salary in your country for certified medical coder? It depends. In order to make what I make in the United States as a medical coder, you have to live within the United States. So there is some offshoring of medical coding that's done in India or Pakistan or the Philippines. But the only reason that they do that is to take advantage of cost savings and to not have to pay people in those countries as much as they do US coders. So you will not get paid what a US-based coder does unless you live in the United States. But they do have a salary calculator with the AAPC. So in my area, and I think they've been retooling this a little bit lately. So it depends a lot on where you live and what your responsibility is in your job, how many years of experience you are, what certification you have. So here, a CPC in Pennsylvania is about 60,000 on average, but depending on what you're doing, it could change a lot. I have like 15 years of experience, 16, maybe 17 at this point. Why did that go down? See, I think they're retooling some stuff here because that shouldn't have happened. But if your primary certification, for example, is auditing, let's see if we have the auditing credential in here. CPMA. Auditing pays quite a bit more. They're actually going to be releasing the salary survey hopefully next month. So we'll have some updated salary information. I already have planned to cover it in early February because usually they release it in the February issue of AAPC's magazine, and that comes out towards the end of this month. Brittany asked, do you know anything about wrong answers on Practicode? They are fixing mine, but I paid $2.99 for a program that does have wrong answers. Yeah, Practicode I can't really comment too much on because I don't have access to it anymore. It wouldn't be something that I would kind of need to go through and continually have access to other than just kind of answer these types of questions. I know there have been complaints about Practicode. I know it's very tough. And Practicode, when you buy it, you need to understand that it is a non-supported program. It's not something that you're going to have a teacher or someone that you can ask questions of, but they do provide the rationales. They tend to stand by their rationales. But if you have something that you're questioning or you think is very wrong, please provide them with as much information as you can. Say, this is the question, screenshot it or whatever you can, because with such a vast amount of different questions and programs, like you're looking at it and you're honed in and you're like, I know this is wrong and it's this, but they don't know out of all of the hundreds of thousands of people that they're working with, what you're looking at. So make sure that you're providing them as much information as you can of this is the question, this is my thought process, this is what I'm looking at, so that they can look into that. Is it worth buying the Bucks books if I'm in the AAPC CPC program? Maybe. If you have the budget for it, I would say go for it because they are honestly my favorite books to learn medical coding. My one complaint I think about the Bucks though is that they for some reason put in a lot of pictures and some of them are literally just like coders sitting on a stool. And I'm like, okay, that's cool and all, but that doesn't really help me learn anything. And some of them are like really graphic anatomy pictures too. So I don't think there's any harm in buying it. I think it is a good reference. I think it's going to have a different sort of vibe than the CPC stuff. So if you can afford it, yeah, definitely. Does AAPC have medical biller training? Absolutely, they do. They have medical biller training. It is for what's called the CPB certification. So the CPB certification, let's see, if you wanted to do self-paced, $2,534.99 with the prerequisites and the books. So yeah, they do have a billing training and they do have a billing certification. They actually also can do a combined. If you want to do billing and coding with the AAPC, they have a CPC and CPB combo. So for the self-paced, it would be $4,839.99. If you want to do instructor-led for both of them, and this is just current because this can change. They have all kinds of different offers and stuff. Ooh, instructor-led, contact us. $11,635,000 value. Oh, now $5,145. So yeah, that is available out there. But again, check if some of your community colleges or tech schools might have some kind of program or workforce improvement grant, because or if you have an employer that has some sort of agreement that they can give you training through certain programs for free or reimburse you for tuition. Can you get CPMA experience if providers code their own charts? I'm a CPCA and my role is to check behind providers. So there's a big difference between auditing and quality checking. And they're both very, very valuable things, right? So when you have providers and they're submitting their own codes and you're going through and validating them and verifying them, that's more of a quality check sort of thing, versus the actual auditing process, right? It involves looking at things. For example, you might pull up some, I want to say super bills. You might pull up the billing forms, the CMS 1500s or the UBO 4s, and you might pull up the charts and you might pull up what the provider coded. And then you're going through and seeing if the codes are correct. And you're writing a formal document going, okay, this is what was coded. This is what the code should have been. This is why, or this was coded and this was correct. And this is why. And having that whole spectrum of very formal processes. Looking at things that are not just, are the codes correct? Did we build the right insurance? Did we use incident 2 correctly? Is the billable provider correct? All kinds of different aspects that are not just verifying that the codes are correct or not. So while I feel that verifying the codes in the system and checking things that the providers have submitted is valuable and it is a quality thing that is being done, it's not quite the same as a formal audit. It's not quite the same as, oh, we got something from Highmark saying that we have these record requests and we got to verify, that what we submitted was correct or that we're sending the right records, and we want to check and make sure that they're what's going to happen after they kind of do their audit. I'm seeing some questions about, and I don't know where the rest of this is because I can't find it. It just says for CPC exam till March 2025, follow 2024 books. You can use the 2024 books for 2025, but the exam has already updated for 2025. So anything that you have that has been changed since 2025 would not be reflected in your 2024 books. You can still use them, but there is a slight possibility that the codes that you get on your exam may have been updated, a few of them. Let me show you what it says on the AAPC website. So here on the AAPC website, it says, what year's book should I use? Since the code sets for each coding books are updated every year, it's essential for coders to have the current year's books and manuals to assure accurate performance. Reporting wrong codes can lead to denied blah, 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 blah. All AAPC exams are based on the current calendar year's code sets. It's strongly suggested you use the current years. All AAPC exams are updated every January for the new code sets. You may choose to utilize books from the preceding year, meaning in 2025, you can use 2024 books. You cannot use 2023 books, one preceding year. From the preceding year, the current year, or a combination of both. However, only one copy of each book is allowed. Books older than 1 year are not allowed for the exam use. Upcoming year's books are not allowed for exam use. So, examinees in their second attempt in the next calendar year will not be permitted to take the previous year's exam. So that's where that is on the website. Shan says, looking to start my course through the AAPC in the next couple of days for my CPC. That's awesome. I have someone that I'm seeing on Instagram, and they won't allow me to bring up the Instagram questions on the platform, but it says, I was taking the Preppy online course, but I had a family emergency and had to stop. You think they'd be able to reinstate it since there's financial hardship? I was 4 months in the program. Contact help at preppy.org, and they should be able to assist you with that. They're very, very good with making sure that their students are satisfied with their program. So they usually do the best they can to accommodate things. There's also a question coming through on Instagram. Says, I'm from India, CRC certified. Is there any chance I can work in the US? Are companies taking on site? Typically not. Usually when employers are hiring coders from India or from Pakistan or Egypt or the Philippines, it's because they're trying to take advantage of the cost savings of having to pay those workers less money. So the only way that you would be able to make as much as a US coder is if you worked in the United States and were located in the United States. And I don't think there's a lot of people that are looking to do, and I'm not the expert on work visas by any stretch of the imagination. But I haven't seen any kind of indications that companies are looking to bring people into the United States to do medical coding. Mickey asks, is the ebook version of the Bucks coding book better than the physical book? Is there a difference? Trying to think if I have one of my copies here. Yeah, there really isn't honestly a difference other than just the fact that one's print and one's ebook. The ebook doesn't have any additional features that I'm aware of. Let me try and get back into it here. They used to have, what am I saying? Some of the other books that I have in Vital Source through my bookshelf have cool things where you can click on things and it'll take you to other stuff, but there's no like additional videos that play in the ebook or links that you can click. But let me check something on the Amazon version. I'm not sure. See, the one thing I'm not sure about with the 2025 versions, at least yet. So here's the Amazon version, and it doesn't say on here. Yeah, student resources on Evolve, access code inside. But when I go to my 2024 one, it like automatically in the ebook, it automatically pops up and says, here's your extra stuff. And it doesn't do that yet on the 2025. And I'm not sure if that's just maybe because they haven't updated it yet. Can my books be tabbed to take the CPC exam? Yes. So for the CPC exam, you are allowed to tab your books. You can write in your books. You can highlight your book. You can't put loose papers in your books. You can't put sticky notes in your book. I would actually advise against even using these for tabs. Technically, I think you can use the little ones for tabs if you want, and if you want to like bookmark a page. But yeah, tabs like this, totally fine for the CPC exam. You can tab, you can write, you can highlight. What you can't do, however, is when you go in to actually take your exam, you're not allowed any writing instruments. You can't have a highlighter. You can't have a pen or a pencil. So when you're actually in the exam center, you can't write in your book, but you are allowed to take an exam with writing on it into your exam. You just can't write on it during the exam. I'm actually doing, I think, a series of shorts right now, kind of answering just some questions in general about CPC exams and books and notes and all that good stuff. Yeah. So yeah, you're not allowed to have Post-it notes. This is actually, let's see what it says. In our books. I can show you what that says on the website as well, just to kind of clarify. Oh, there's my video. Okay, here we go. So what it officially says is handwritten notes are acceptable in the coding books only if they pertain to daily coding activities. You can't write questions from the study guides, questions from the practice exams, or questions from the exam itself. You can insert tabs if they are taped, pasted, stapled, or glued, but it has to be obvious that the intent is to earmark a page with words or numbers and not to supplement information in the book. So again, you can't just like write a bunch of notes on a sticky note and stick it in your book. But if you have a little tab and you want to write on there cardiovascular and then stick it on the front page of your cardiovascular section, you can absolutely do that. You also cannot alter, white out, paint, or print over any pages within the code book. So you can't print over the table of contents or get a massive amount of whiteout and white out a whole page and then write back over it. And then nothing other than tab dividers can be inserted, taped, pasted, glued, or stapled in the manuals. Christina asks, and this is going to be the last question from the day because it is 3:00 and top of the hour, time to finish up the stream. Is an HIM bachelor's program financially worth it? I'm looking at one that prepares you for the RHIT exam. It's with WGU. I have heard great things from friends that have gone through the WGU program. They love it. They love the flexibility. If I was personally going to go for my RHIT or I want to get my bachelor's, I would go with WGU as well. I think they're an excellent choice. And I do know quite a few people that are directors in healthcare organizations and went with WGU. So yeah, definitely worth it. Anyway, thank you guys for coming into the stream. Apparently, I'm getting a lot more questions these days than I can keep up with. So I might have to add in some additional live streams. So definitely let me know if you need me to come in and start answering questions a couple times a week. I think it helps a lot if I schedule these well in advance because that seems to bring in some more viewers. Anyway, thank you to all of you that have tuned in. More videos are going to be coming this week, so make sure that you are subscribed and you have that notification bell hit because there's a lot of additional shorts and stuff that are getting published. And I'm working on getting some more review materials available. I will see you guys in the next video. And until then, just keep on coding on.